Hello, beautifuls. Welcome to Intuitive Conversations with Kristine Keeland and Renee Kane. I'm Kristine.
I'm Renee. As best friends and intuitives, we have fantastic conversations in all things spiritual. We have been inspired to share these conversations with you.
Well, hello, gorgeous. Hello, beautiful.
Hello, my wonderful friend. I am so excited about our conversation today. So many wonderful and eye-opening and expanding things have happened in the last month since we've visited with this wonderful group of people.
Such a shift, right? So many new and exciting things coming up. And I know we discussed it earlier, want to talk about this new world we're leaping into and what we're leaving behind. And you've been getting quite a bit of information on that. And I'd love to have you share and kind of let's just dive right in.
I'm ready for it. We are in the midst of this huge shift. I have really been working with someone who has just really taken me to the next level of understanding and knowing, and this new world that's being created. It is going to happen, people. It really is coming to us, and it is for us. The piece that's I'm uber clear on after working with this gal is it's like this new world that's right there ready for us is opening gates and doors, and that isn't quite happening yet. It will be happening for all of us. Our work right now is to get ourselves as clear, as clean, as open as we can. And that means we have a lot of work to do, myself included. That means leaving all shit behind. We cannot take it with us.
And that's what we've been seeing, right? We've been seeing the discomfort in the bodies. We've been seeing, more mental and emotional distress. We've been seeing more confusion, more, you might call them unpleasant emotions.
Yeah.
The anger and all that. But also the wonderful, beautiful part is you've been seeing, like, I want to say by a boatload, but just wave after wave of people, quote unquote, waking up, becoming more aware of themselves,
Absolutely.
not tapping into their emotions, but tapping into their intuition, seeing the world differently, being, coming from a more heart-centered way of looking at life. And, so it's like we have one foot in each, they're not realms, but one foot in each vibrate, each, how would you determine it? Each really existences, right?
There are multiple existences that we, and I know that's a concept that not everyone can grasp onto, but we are in multiple places at the same time working on different things. And right now we're here in this world now working on this. Anything we clean up in one experience cleans it up all over. That's one of the experiences I had last week. Was I dumped a huge amount of ancestral garbage. Dumped it, cleared it up, cleaned it up, worked on it. I felt 100 pounds lighter. I wasn't, but I felt the heaviness of 100 pounds leave me.
And as that ancestral clearing's done, that literally changes the DNA.
It changes the DNA for myself, my family moving forward, 7 generations, and moving backward 7 generations. And I'm here to tell you, my grandpa, it probably goes farther than that.
13, 14 maybe, but
it probably does.
Yeah.
I worked on my mother's side of the family. I didn't even know I was carrying this, but it came up in session, and we worked it out to figure it out. It's a long story how we got there. It was pretty funny, but we got there, and my grandpa came and helped me release everything in his lineage backwards, and he was at peace and at rest in his soul self.
Yeah,
and I can't explain how painful it was going through, but how wonderful that experience in the end is. And I share this with you because these are the things that we need to clean up. I could not have moved forward into this new world when the gates open for us, carrying that ancestral baggage. So that's why we need to really look at anything we're attached to, anything that might be within our being. And we might not always recognize it. I didn't know about this. So it could have manifested in my body as a disease, and I do think that was part of what happened when I had my surgery last year.
Yeah.
Things will manifest in us in different ways until we can get to the root of it.
Yeah. And then say no more.
Yeah, and then it's done. Then it's done, and it's
looked
all
at
gone.
fully and completely. And so when you say new world, are you talking about a whole new planet? Right, it's not a whole new planet. I mean, it's a vibrational different. It's a different vibration frequency. It's like an enhancement, but it's the planet. We're not talking about Earth 1 and Earth 2. Like there's not one sphere and then that dissolves. We go into another sphere. I'm trying to what people are asking.
Yep.
It's like a transition.
That's a great
It's
word.
a transition from one vibrational, but it's like collectively we all do it together. And the Earth's already changing her frequency and vibration.
Exactly.
So because years ago people would say there's one Earth here and one Earth here, and people are like going to jump from one Earth to another and live there in a lower vibration. No, it's not. I just want to be really clear if anybody's heard those things, or perhaps this is all new information. What are you talking about, a new Earth? What do you mean?
Exactly.
A new Earth. Yeah.
And it is. It's a vibrational shift.
Yeah. And so our existence will be much different because we still have to have the density to have form, right? Fifth and seventh dimensions there's a form to it. And you talk about going to the fifth dimension, right? And it's holding, and the fifth dimension can't support these old beliefs, these old ancestral experiences, patterns,
beliefs, whatever.
The geometry that goes with it, the codes, the gates, all those things.
It's up leveling.
Yeah, it's an up level.
The Earth is up leveling.
Yeah.
And creating a space where you can be in your physical body or you can be in your light body.
Yeah.
Where we all can be whoever we are at whatever given moment we desire. Our creative abilities, which we all have. We all have all of the gifts within us. We all have all of the abilities within us. Some of us have tuned into certain specific ones more so than others.
Yep.
It doesn't mean that you don't have the other ones.
No, it's like your computer board, your mortar board, whatever it's called. It's like some lights are activated and some aren't, and it's all serves your soul purpose and what you want to experience. But if you can tap into them anytime you want to, if it serves your highest and best good, and if it's interesting on a soul level. Yeah.
And it's kind of like what I was sharing with you when I drove here. I got started a little late this morning and, text Kristine, and I thought, I'm not really going to be late. Yeah. And I recognized and I understand and I know that now I am a master of time. Time is not a master of me.
Yeah.
That's been a huge learning experience for me. I am a master of time. Time is not a master of me. And we all can get there, however that works for you. I got home from South Dakota in 8 hours. It's a 10-hour drive.
And so you're not enslaved anymore.
No, I'm not enslaved by time. And so that's an easy way for all the listeners to practice.
I understand.
Practice, with time. Time is just it's just a linear thing that is here right now.
Slows things down so you can understand it, and you don't have to be attached to it, right?
You don't have to be attached to it, and it does not master you.
Absolutely. So it might be something to look at. What masters you? Are you the master of your reality, or there's something that's holding?
That's good.
Holding you in a certain place. I worked with a lady the other day, and soul things have been coming in a lot for people. What's their soul theme? Kind of what's going on. And one lady was talking about, we were talking together in her session, and her whole life experience has been encapsulated in this theme of enslavement. And at first I thought guidance meant, well, her mind's enslaved. And I thought, through, and it is her mind was enslaved because she'd been bullied a lot. And she's been bullied to the point people are always trying to control her life and tell her what to do. And that was the enslavement part. Now she kind of broke through that whole membrane, and now there's no value in having that experience anymore. So that's like the shift into the new world.
Awesome.
She totally, completely understand that whole thing of what it is to be enslaved through my mind, my heart, my desires. Somebody else has control over them. I now get to be the master of my own destiny and my divine living. But you have to finish book 1
Yeah.
to open book 2, right?
It's usually the way. It usually works best.
I have friends who go to the end of the book.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, and it is. It's clearing up. It's like we need a pure vessel to go forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's really, I'll just reiterate again about how sometimes it's not things we're really conscious of.
I'd say mostly.
So keeping a journal or if you don't want to call it a journal, a piece of paper where you can make notations as to something that might trigger you a little bit or set you off, or something that, someone says and you might get the shivers and go, oh, that's so cool. Or you might get the opposite reaction. So to keep some kind of a log right now, it'll give you keys to what it is you potentially can get rid of, what you can leave behind.
Yeah.
What you not even can leave behind, what you need to leave behind.
Absolutely. It's an absolute must.
You
have to leave it behind. And we sometimes have to say, well, I just do this because my mom did or my dad did, or I've learned this behavior. It's like, well, everybody in my family, we all do that. And okay, there's also like, this isn't such a serious subject because they also said everybody. I can't even say what they want me to say. It's just,
sure you can.
That's just so juvenile. But
well,
I have this 12-year-old boy in me sometimes, but it's you can't say, well, everybody. It's just so silly. Everybody farts after dinner in my family, so
that's why I do it too. And it feels good.
And it's like, oh my gosh, why do you guys want me to say that? And they said it's just because levity.
Because
we're so
as simple
serious.
As that.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. It really is.
Or really, it's like I have digestive issues because that's in my family. Right? And yes, there's DNA. There's ancestral, like Renee was talking about. We have to clear the ancestral line. There's more and more people able to help you do that. It's through your own awareness, your own desire. It's digging deep. It's not sidestepping anything. Yeah, it's pretty exciting, pretty cool. It's understanding this whole heritage, the galactic heritage, the human heritage, and going forward, we're becoming more of we're more cosmic beings, our planetary systems, expanding in there too. So,
and I'm just really being encouraged right now, right off of what you said, is that's what you and I do.
Yes.
We work with people in helping them uncover those pieces that sometimes you're aware of them, but sometimes you're not. That's what we do in a simple, very, very simple, plain language. That's our work here right now. That's what we do.
Yeah.
So, end of commercial. But
no, but that's
I just got that. This is what we're talking about. This is what we do with our clients.
Very simply, they may think they're coming for one thing, and it turns out to be totally different. That's why we never know what we're doing. We know what we're doing. We know our process. We know how we work with. We know how we work with energy. But you may think you're coming for one thing. You may think you're coming to find out. Can I talk to my dad, or I need to know my new job or whatever. But something totally, what really is the most important thing comes forward. And it's many, many times includes that energy work. And then I'd say always, not always, but 90% times, it's some type of ancestral clearing.
Oh, frequently.
It's awareness.
Yeah, frequently, yes.
Releasing that. So.
And we do this. We go to each other. We go to other people. We are constantly working on ourselves. In fact, we both just did this really cool star reading, star seed reading.
Yes.
That I would encourage any of you to do that. What it did was, for me, so much validation as to what's in my DNA. And perhaps why, not perhaps, but it gives me, it sheds light on certain aspects of myself and where they come from and why they're there and what my purpose or assignment is based on those attributes that have come in through my DNA.
So tell me more about that.
Well, it was a very wonderful experience. His my starseed reading came across first thing that showed up, and you have these galactic or star
Yeah.
beings that you're aware of, correct?
Yeah.
So he says to me, "Oh, you have guardian DNA in you," and I'm thinking, "Guardian DNA? What in the heck is that?" Well, in explaining it, it's absolutely spot on.
Mhm.
It explains a lot of pieces of my knowing and my ancient. I'm very attuned to ancient civilizations, and there's a reason why. And the guardians are here about protecting and guiding. And so, on some level, I think it's the upgrade of your guardian angel.
Mm.
I
Yes.
think that's where the guardians.
That makes
I
sense.
think it
Yeah.
ties in. I think that's where that whole thing comes from, because it's about
That language
protecting.
comes from that.
Yeah, the language comes from, but
Yeah.
it's not protecting in a let's have a war or let's have a battle of words or let's battle. It's in a loving, guiding protection, like a mother guides her children. Don't touch the oven; it's
Yeah.
hot.
Yeah.
That kind of a reaction. And the guardians, they spoke to me, gave me different pieces of information. I won't go into the whole thing,
Yeah.
but part of it was like water
Mm-hmm.
for me has always been important. Whenever I'm by water, I have to put my feet in it. I mean, Kristine can testify to that because we've been places and she does the same thing. I got to get my feet in the water, and we just run and go. And we are actually encoding intention into the water when we touch it with our feet, with our hands, or whatever. And that's the intention of peace and love. And whatever our intention is at the time with whatever piece of water we're in with. And I'm like, I have been doing that for years. And they've validated it. And this person wouldn't have any clue of that.
Right.
Also, the coding action of just being who we are. We're encoding love throughout the world, throughout the universe. It's not just the world. The next piece that they brought up was sound healing, which I have always used my voice. And then I quit for a while.
Yeah, you were a cantor in the church.
I cantored for 25 years with the church. And then I kind of stopped. And then my light language, which I'm being encouraged to call light essence, has come forward. And I utilize that. I've been encouraged to utilize that more, because that vibration goes out into wherever I am.
And it actually the vibration goes into the cells. It goes in the cells of our physical body and goes in the cells of, everything here. And that's really
All
how
beings.
it releases energy. It creates change, all that ancestral baggage, kind of like the junk DNA too.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. And so there's a whole lot more in
so
that.
Important because it's a vibration.
Yeah, those two pieces were huge. Some of the other pieces were interesting for me, probably not for the group. And then the next starseed DNA that is in me is Octurian, which made complete and utter sense. And you can look up Octurians and kind of see what that DNA is about, or what they are about. And the clarity with that is I can be very, I don't know how to quite say this.
More straightforward.
Yes, I'm more straightforward.
Clinical,
I don't
not
flower.
flowery.
I don't flower a lot of stuff up.
Yeah, some of the languages are very flowery. Some of the vibrations are very flowery.
Yeah,
they talk majestically and gloriously.
Yes, and this is more straightforward.
Yeah.
So there isn't a lot of embellishment oftentimes.
Yeah.
If I'm in my guardian stuff, there's embellishment.
But
if I'm working in my Octurian self, if I'm getting the messages from them, then it's much more straightforward, and it's just going to come out the way it comes out. And
I see the Octurians are more like more of a scientific, clinical, research based, right? Their medical teams come in a lot. It's like there's a purpose. There's a very specific purpose. Not a lot of giggles. Not that they're not delightful or anything, but it's just it's a different, like I said, different DNA. It's a different vibrational.
It is totally different.
And
working with them, sometimes it's like they don't really. If I try to joke or whatever, they're kind of like, we're doing work here.
Yeah.
So it's
stay focused.
Stay focused. We get the job done. We can have some fun.
Task driven. Yeah.
So that's kind of them, but they also brought up the whole piece on water and water and water.
Mm-hmm.
And they also brought up the sound healing piece and more please, more please. I was also told to not worry about the shadow side. And that is contrary to what we're hearing a lot of in the world right now. We need to work on our shadow side. Now, for some people, that is accurate information. I think I've worked through a lot of shadow. There's probably some more there yet that'll pop up. But for the most part, they said, don't focus on that. Don't focus on the shadow. I thought that was interesting.
Because you're not, maybe you're in your phase two or whatever. It's like your focus is forward.
Yeah.
What am I creating going forward? And this is like you're not shackled to the shadow side anymore.
To the old.
And you have to look at that. You
can't just run away from it.
You can't run away from it. And even like you look at nature, plenty of things grow in shadow.
Yeah.
Ferns and hostas and moss, like those
beautiful
moss
things, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just part of the equation, it's part of the evolution of the human spirit, the human soul, is you engage in all of it, but there's a point where it just doesn't hold any weight. It doesn't.
No,
it's not important. It's not important to that particular person,
right? But
you can't say it for everybody because everybody has their own journey. But I do agree.
Yeah. And so, like I said, it may appear again or show up. I'm not going to say that it won't. But I'm going to heed their advice.
And that's not your mission.
No.
I always hear the word lately. It's like mission control. Is that, if they're telling me right. It's like I just see this panel in front of me. It's mission control, and like your mission is not to work with shadow side.
It's not
your
anymore,
mission is to expand and to brighten and to enlighten others into their own awareness of self, and if whatever shadow work they need help with, it comes through some other way, other venue, to their own awareness, to help others. And I encourage everybody. Get help.
Yes, talk to someone.
We're not islands. We're not, this is not a solo journey, and many people want to be a lone wolf, and it's like you feel like there's more value if you do it by yourself. It's just longer and painful and more, always trust yourself. And even that, sometimes you need to work with somebody to help you gain trust for yourself.
And to move forward, you actually need to be the being that does the work.
Yeah, no,
but that doesn't mean, like Chris just said, it does not mean you have to do it alone.
No.
In any way, shape, or form, you do not have to do it alone. But you are the master of moving yourself forward and out of whatever your current situation is, if that's your desire.
Yeah.
You are the master of that. You can have little assistants to help you.
And you know what I'm seeing? Because I always watch a lot of movies, so I go back to the way I explain things are through movies or books or something fictional. And when you come to someone for help, they'll hold your hand and they help you through it, and they help you find your own voice. And eventually, just like you see this little shift, and the person's doing it all on their own without you holding their hand. And I just saw, Cyrano de Bergerac, is that how you pronounce it? Cyrano, the guy with the long nose. And for a long time, he stood behind somebody, and the person in front of him said all the words and all the voices until Cyrano got brave enough to be his own self and be the person. So really, when you're working with somebody as a support system, they may be in front of you a little bit. It feels like they're doing the work. They're just holding and supporting you until you find your own language, your own way. And then you just fly. You're full on, and you step in front. And you're leading the way. So it's this really magnificent, magnanimous shift into your ownness, your oneness, your completeness. But please don't ever feel like you have to do it alone. And you never really are alone. No, you never really are. You never really are. But I know it feels like that many, many times. But so that was kind of a side tour, as we're driving through this galactic phase here. Yeah. But I just felt it was really important for people to know.
I'm glad
that's how it works.
So tell us about your starseed information, because things like this are tools that can help you advance your. I don't want to even say advance. Things like this are tools that can help you to see who you are.
Yeah, and as time's gone on, you figure out, well, I'm not just my body, I'm not just a soul, I'm not just the heritage I have on Earth. You figure out, well, there's others. You have this other cosmic, galactic influence in your life. And what was really cool about knowing about my starseed lineage and things was, I know I work with a lot of different groups, but like who my main connection is, I was never really super clear on that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the Syrian and the Lyran and the Guardians
Your
too
guardians,
also.
yep.
And it makes perfect sense. But what really helped me was, none of it helped me, something that was maybe new was seeing that everybody carries a different blueprint.
Yes.
And I want to get more information on that. I'm asking for that right now too, is because we carry this galactic blueprint. It's a little, in DNA, it's a little different than it's an addition to what you get from your parents.
Yes.
And what you pass on to your children.
Yes.
So they're just showing me marbles right now. So.
But it is, it's your
if you have like 5 red
blueprint.
marbles in there, and you have 5 marbles in front of me, and 3 are red and 2 are blue. 3 may be the galactic blueprint you bring in, the galactic DNA. The 2 are the Earth ones, like your French or Norwegian or whatever. But also they're all influenced by the ancestral experience, because you're an Earth body. So that was a different way for me to see it and look at it. And again, like you said, things that I've done my whole life that I've just needed to do is because it's part of the work I'm doing.
Yes.
It's part of the fun, bringing in codes, working with ley lines and grids, and wanting to be in different parts of the earth. But the water has always been so important. Like, I remember sometimes I'll just we live in Minnesota. I'm like, I have to get up to North Shore. I have to get to Lake Superior. I've got to put my feet in Lake Superior. And we both live by rivers, so it's like, and both live in Minnesota with a lot of lakes. So it was just a nice confirmation that kind of putting all the pieces together. And it's always just really interesting to learn more about yourself. It was really nice to hear and see in maybe a more concrete way. It's not that I judge myself, not that I question myself, but I know that I'm here to help evolve human consciousness. I just know that. And to know that that's part of my coding and part of my mission, that mission control that I keep talking about, to see it kind of in black and white, it's like, oh yes, it's not that I ever thought it was a fantasy, but I don't know, it just, you know what, it's just nice to hear it. It's just nice to have confirmation, I guess.
Absolutely.
Just nice to hear, because I know. And when you know what it is, because sometimes when you talk like that, well, I'm here to help evolve humans. La-di-da, right for you. But I just know that that's what it is, whether I do it from sitting in my kitchen and living my own life or working with clients or whatever I do, that's why I'm here.
I would agree, Kristine.
Me and many others.
That was a lot of the validation that came forward within what I heard as well. Yeah. It's like, I have said that forever. I just know. And oftentimes I can't tell you why. It's not like I read a book and I know now. I just know it in my being. I've worked in the cosmos for a very long time. Yeah. And haven't been able to say that. No, and I can see different galaxies. I can do different things. And as a kid, I knew, I thought, well, maybe I wanted to go in psychology. I wanted to understand the human experience. Now I know why the human experience is so important to me. I paid attention to people as a kid, and I just was always I observed a lot. And now I understand that I could see, even looking back, how the energy leaves your body, like the codes leave your body. They come in through the universe. It's almost like atoms rearranging themselves sometimes, and you see like the sacred geometry. And then sometimes it's just in front of you, but sometimes it actually leaves your body, and that's what you're doing. It's like you're helping evolve the human species into a higher, heightened sense of self-love and gratitude and grace and all the beautiful things that we really desire. So that was really cool to just like hear it, not just in my own head. Because the words get kind of, they're not words we use in everyday language. No. And going back to it's like we can say, I know, I just know. I feel like I have a clearer understanding now. Yeah, like a deeper. It's like I know that these things, but now I understand. And it also where and why. Distraction, because distraction's been a big theme this last month with people I've been working with, and it's so easy to get distracted. If you really know why in a very clear way, people ask me all the time, what's my soul purpose? What am I doing? Sometimes it comes in really clear, but mostly it's like truly your soul purpose is to love yourself. Yes. To love yourself to the 10th degree. Everything else just starts to fall in place. The clarity comes in. Life gets so much easier. That's like basics. Then maybe there's like a little line in your own hair, in your own soul, desire what you want to experience. And but it's big. It is. We've talked about this before. It's It's love. It's not your monkey mental mind.
No,
It's
no,
the
no.
love that you hold in your system, in your heart. And your heart isn't just this little fist-shaped thing.
No.
You know, your heart expands, and when your whole body, you can feel your whole body vibrate. That's your heart moving through you, or expressing an understanding of like, aha, you've got it, you know? It is all heart-centered.
And all your experiences change. The way you relate to people, the way you relate to life, the way you respond to life. It truly is a new world experience, because it's like you have this personality that operated under this program where self-love, and it's way beyond self-love. Whenever I talk, they're always, you know, the guidance is like, well, get the words exactly right. That's why I hesitate so much, because the words don't match it. It's just love. It's just pure love.
Pure
And of course,
love.
and it's, if you are a loving being, of course you're involved in that. But it's like, here's this life, and here's this. You know what it reminds me of? I remember when my dad died. I wasn't super young, but I was 25. I was like, okay, there's the life I have with my dad, and now there's the life after my dad. So once you become totally aware and conscious that your very existence, what you exude is love. That's the after. Before that, like there's a line drawn in the sand. There's this life where I'm kind of operating half full, don't know where my self-love is, and I relate and respond to things in different ways. And then the world after. And we kind of got off a little bit from the galactic stuff, so I do want to get back to that and the star seeds. But it's all, there's no separation. It's one experience. It's just how we become more and more aware of what we're experiencing and why we're here to, how we share our DNA.
And that takes us right back to the starseed, please.
Yes.
Because some people might not understand who or what a starseed
I wouldn't have known 15 years ago.
No, I wouldn't have either. But it's someone who comes with the star DNA attached to their DNA, or a part of their, with a blueprint, with a cosmic blueprint, or a divine blueprint. And we are here to drop seeds of wisdom on this planet, so that it can grow and people can reach in and grab what they need. Now, I think the vast majority of us are starseeds at this point in time right now.
I do too.
So whether you know that, or have thought that, or acknowledge it or not, potentially some of these seeds then can ignite that side or that piece in you that are being dropped by a vast number of people.
And you can just feel and see the change and shift in the frequency and vibration. That's why I have no worries or concern about where we're going. You know, there's some, you know, wavy.
There's some wavy energy coming.
There's some rough rides coming ahead a little bit. You know, what rough water is what I'm saying. But that'll the ones who understand, whether it's a conscious thought or not, you understand. Part of what you're doing is holding steady this higher vibration frequency for others to kind of acclimate to it, because you do have to acclimate to things.
You do.
And then it's not such a rough ride. But all this galactic energy coming in, it's not for them to do it for us. Not this galactic energy is not doing for us. It's a little bit like an oxygen mask, perhaps, but you still do the breathing on your own.
Great analogy. Great analogy. Yes, that's perfect.
It just helps us with the awareness, and helps because it's a different vibration frequency. And all these parts of yourself they get activated. It's like that board.
They get turned on.
It's like that computer board. But you have to, as Renee was saying, you have to have a clear vessel to do that with, to go forward. And that's releasing and purging all the old.
And I think a lot of times when you look at all this shifting around from the technological terminology of the motherboard or the control panel, or I'll just say, you know, the things that we want to get out of our DNA, out of our cells, out of our memories, out of everything that we want to be done with and have resolved. If you look at that like a file folder in your file drawer, and technically your brain is kind of like the place where everything's filed away. So sometimes you have to go digging in it. And it's just like, okay, I've got this file with this junk in it. I'm just going to burn that stuff. I'm sending it away. I'm closing the door on it. It's gone.
Yes.
So sometimes, whatever works for you as you're looking at it, but sometimes that technical stuff, or it's in the file in your computer, which is your brain, or however you want to look at it, it's using that terminology can really help us understand.
And what's helpful file to go forward.
Exactly.
I'm just seeing pictures in my basement. Like we have not a lot. We have some box in the basement, pictures from my, my in-laws, or pictures from even my life. And I think, well, are my kids even interested in this? Are the grandkids, in 30, 40, 50 years, somebody interested? Get rid of it now. So that's clearing your file.
Yes.
It doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just listening to somebody say, of course it matters. It's your history. It matters. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to argue back. It doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter if you have a picture of your grandma from 100 years ago. It's interesting.
And if you
if you enjoy it and it brings you great joy, keep it. But also recognize that everything that your grandma experienced becomes part of you. Not the whole of you, but the joy and the trauma and everything, and the disappointment. So does that need to be passed? Do we need to keep shoving those boxes forward? Do those files need to keep being in our brain? So it's just like we are in a tremendous purge, and you're seeing it on the earth. You're seeing it on the physical plane. Renee mentioned it earlier. I'll let her pipe in here in a minute since I'm done blabbing. Many souls are leaving in mass, through a mass, many souls. How do you want to say it, Renee? A lot of souls are leaving all at once. I'm thinking, like an earthquake or something.
From all different, right? From all different ways.
From all different ways, right?
Yes.
Maybe it's 5 here, 10 there, but also 20, 30,000 at a time, or 10,000 or 500 or whatever. It's because they're not taking that forward. That's their service to humanity. Pick that one up, Renee, because you were speaking about it so beautifully earlier.
It is their service to humanity. And we talk about, moving into this new earth, and we can't take things with us. Well, some of the things that we can't take with us, one of them is disease, illnesses. So there are a number of people right now who have agreed on some level to take care of getting rid of these illnesses. They are going to take them out the old earth gates, and they will be done, never to be seen again or heard from. And there's a lot of pieces wrapped around that. Sad, yes, when someone that we love has to go through something like this. There is a bigger picture, people. There's
always a bigger picture.
And this bigger
picture.
And
ask what's the bigger picture that I'm not understanding, because there's so many. It's a glorious, wonderful picture, but asking the bigger part, and you get past like the why me, the poor me, I don't really doesn't even have to. I don't understand. What else do I need to understand?
So there's a large group of people that are actually right now working on this, and they may depart in a great big group. They may be departing simply here, there, and everywhere. They're doing a service for
it's such a great service, man. It's such a
all of us, every piece of humanity. When you
such a generous act too.
My heart just overflows with that. That's the piece someone was willing to take on as we move forward, getting rid of that. And that the disease and illness is just one thing. Other things that have to stay here are control. If you have any control issues in your life where you got to control this, that, or the other
manipulation,
thing, or if you are being manipulated, or you are the manipulator. All of that needs to look at that. All stays. It's not moving forward. That is not going to exist.
No, or living in fantasy or delusion or any things that just really aren't our highest and best, which a long list, but
which is really a great offering for humanity right now. We actually get to clean up all the shit from generations. We get to clean it up, and we
want to. We want to. This is why we were born at this time, in this place, in this body, and it is such a honored position to take. It's an honored position to take because it affects this planet and all the other planets around it, and we couldn't wait to get here to do this work.
It's our mission.
Yeah, it's really our mission.
Yeah.
You and others, if you're listening, others, and it is clearing that space, because right now, if you're, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, you're holding space for something. If it's a full closet, you can't put anything else in it. So that's where you have to clear the body.
Yes.
The body first. Well, consciousness shifts too, but yeah, the body has to be cleared, purge.
It's all of it.
Yeah.
It's mentally, physically, and
Emotionally,
spiritually,
yeah,
because we have pieces in our spiritual experience too that we can look at and say, this is old.
Yeah.
Or is this true?
Is this true?
Is this actually true? This is in my spirituality, but
and truth shifts as you evolve.
It does. The more you learn, the more you understand. And so it's like we get to look at all pieces. And I'm with you, Chris, when you say moving forward. I'm almost giddy.
I get very excited.
I'm almost giddy about it. I don't get stuck in the other stuff, and maybe that's why I really don't watch television, and I really don't watch television. I really don't listen to the radio. I try to stay off Facebook. I go on when I feel I'm encouraged to or whatever. It's just
it's really a distraction.
It's a distraction when I do those other things. Thank you for the word.
It's a distraction.
Just like, and I'm doing my work.
Yeah. And sometimes a distraction is nice. Sometimes you need distraction because you're actually doing something.
Sometimes
it's more about paying attention.
Yeah.
How long has this distraction been going on? Why am I doing this? Is this more comfortable? Like I learned, like I just heard, when you're not doing things, that's when you get the inspiration. You just hear a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard years ago, my family watched a lot of TV.
Mm-hmm. Mine did too.
It was kind of a way like, I thought, that's a nice way you bonded and you watched blah, blah, blah together. But it also it prevented us from talking.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very, not intentional, but it was very, let's just not process what the day was like. Let's not process the hurt and the pain and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it did create a nice, loving environment at times.
Mm-hmm.
But I know there's other ways to do it too.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're wise enough and know, and I look at the young families and us old farts too, We're not that old.
Hey, who are you talking about?
Not me. Not me or not you. But
everyone else.
But we're just aware now we can do it differently. We can talk about our feelings. We can, and not like I can hear somebody say, well, that's just blah, 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 It's not wallowing in your pity. It's not wallowing in poor me. It's actually like it's it's just the divine expression of the human experience.
Mm-hmm.
And to not hide anymore. To just not hide.
Yeah.
To say, this is lovely, this isn't okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't accept this in my life anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And to understand that you can really say that.
Yeah.
You can really say that and believe it and know it.
And know it and live by it.
Mm-hmm.
And I accept this instead.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the give and flow and the even, so that's how it comes in for me. Just kind of comes in really gently sometimes, like, oh, that's why I've been doing that my whole life. It's because it always serves a purpose.
Mm-hmm. There is such a glorious time ahead for us. And I would encourage each of you to look at whatever it is that pops into your awareness first.
Yeah.
And actively work on shifting that out of your blueprint, out of who you are right now. And when we start with one thing, the one thing is moved. It's so much easier to see the next thing. And we often talk about healing in layers. We uncover one layer and then there's another layer. So I'm saying that to encourage you not to be disillusioned if, in fact, you believe you closed a file on something and it kind of comes back in a way. It's coming back in a way not because you didn't do something correctly. It's because there's more. You got rid of some, but there's more. It goes deeper.
And you can only do so much at a time.
Exactly.
Mentally, emotionally, physically, but also your your vibration can only do so much at a time. The frequency it can't shift that quickly. Like our bodies can't do it. Our mental minds can't do it.
Exactly.
So like congratulate yourself for each part that you're uncovering and allowing to be seen and heard. And celebrate yourself.
That's what I was just going to say. And it's kind of like, instead of going, oh shit, this is bad.
Again? I thought I had this covered.
It's about adjusting the whole attitude of you and saying, oh, hello.
Yeah.
I thought we cleared this up. What else is there for me to see or learn from this experience? So we control how we respond to everything. And so that's the piece to become really acutely aware of, that what is my response to that? What is my response to that?
And that's when you start to notice I am responding to life differently. And that's the beautiful part of everything we're talking about. It allows the evolution, it allows the forward movement, but it comes from within. Like we have to do the own work. You have to decide. You can't blame anybody else. You can't wait for somebody to come in and save you. There's that belief out there that it's going to be really easy and that just galactics are going to come in and change the monetary system and change everything. It's like no. That's not how it works. It's one by one, individually. Collectively, we change things together also, but it comes down to my life. I'm just repeating what Renee said, but she don't need to say it any differently. I think she said it absolutely beautifully.
Yeah. I think we all hear things differently, so sometimes that's why it's really good to piggyback, you know. But going on with what you said about the saving thing, that is definitely an old paradigm that has to go away for all of us. There is no saving involved.
No saving, no martyrs,
and even yourself. You know, I used to say the only person that can save you is you. And I want to even ditch that. That's an old saying. That's an old cliche, because it isn't about saving. It's not saving. No. I'm not getting the word, Chris. Maybe you'll get it before me. But it's doing my own work. Yeah. It's not saving. It's the only one that can bring me forward is me.
It's being responsible for your own experience. It's being responsible for your own response. It's being responsible. Yeah. But it's also, we've talked about words before. So many times I hear people say, I survived this, I survived that. And it's like, oh, and you get this big badge. You're not saying you shouldn't be, congratulated for whatever. You should be congratulated for everything you go through. But you start to shift into, I experienced this. It feels different. It's a different vibrations, different frequency. It actually it helps you go into the next experience that's in your highest and best. I survived this, keeps you stuck in. It's like a running wheel.
Yes.
Nothing changes. We were talking about atoms moving and sacred geometry. It just stays that. And you stay in that, I'm surviving, and whatever created that experience, it's still in your system. It just keeps, it's like on the hamster wheel. So it may not show up again exactly the same way. You may not have another car accident. You may not get the same cancer. You may not get something different. You may not have the same job loss or whatever it is you survived. But you start to see, I experienced this. And now I get to decide what that experience, how it held value for me, and how I maintain the wisdom of that. That's why words are so important, because those two words hold very different meanings, totally different meanings, totally different vibrations. So that's another thing. Look at your vocabulary sometimes. What the words you use. What do you use a lot? There's a few I use that.
I catch myself using words often that it's like,
son of a gun. It's
like, what's still doing here?
But more often than not, I catch it. And because the feeling's different. The feeling that precedes the word is different. So that's something just like lean into and say, I endured. Right? Yeah. So it keeps you in that place, and it's great. If you want to be in that place, always tell you not to leave it. But what would it be like if I, what would you springboard into?
There you go.
What's your next desire? I've had this. Get to a point where I'm very grateful for this. Now, what do I desire to experience? And with the knowing that you're more than just this physical body, that you've got this wonderful galactic heritage and galactic energy, which is so expansive and so like the potentials.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And your soul self, that that whole thing of you are attached to your soul self,
Mm-hmm.
and all the wisdom resides there.
Right there.
So that's a great experience to have, is a conversation with your soul.
Yes.
When you can do that, your eyes just light up, and it shows you things in, like you said, a completely different light.
Yeah.
So I would encourage you, like you said, again, look at the words you use, look at the energy around them. Choose your next best word. Choose your next best experience.
Yeah. Maybe write down the words that you want to start having your vocabulary be.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have more of this in my day-to-day life. I want more of the delight, or more gratitude. I want more. I desire.
Desire.
I'm going to intentionally bring it into my thought process, right? Because we work with the mind, and we're kind of shifting between what's the lead, the mind and the heart. But rewriting the brain comes through the mind. The thought and the feeling comes from the heart. And it feels. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
I just want to encourage people to really look and see if this makes sense to you. We're talking about the star seeds and the galactics, and because there's really no separation.
No.
Maybe a new concept to you. Maybe something you've always. It's old news to you. Maybe this is a new way of hearing about it, or thinking about it. But it's expansion. There's no limitation.
There's no
limitations. They're false limitations we put on ourselves.
There are no limitations.
Yeah.
It's really an opportunity, people, to just shine your light.
Yeah.
And shine away, baby.
Yeah.
Shine away. So I guess we're going to wrap it up.
It feels like this is a complete...
we're there. I'm not getting any more messages or downloads. And
we'll talk about this again.
We
if you
will.
have questions, ask us, send them in. We'll answer them. We really want to touch on, because there is going to be some unrest and some difficulties coming forward. I'm
not sugarcoating it.
Not sugarcoating. We're not going to say what it will be for anybody, but this is what they want to tell you. So it sounds like a lot of the listeners maybe listen to different podcasts and things, and wonderful. Listen to lots of things and see what resonates to you. But I know some people will tell me, "Oh, this is just such a tough month, and the energies are so extreme, and I'm having time," and that's all valid. But then there may come up. There's two ends of it. There's like bookends. People aren't feeling anything. They haven't really started their next expansion journey. And then the other end is, I'm not feeling anything because it's not affecting you anymore. You've already worked through that. So there's no right or wrong experience, any of it. I'm feeling all the energies. I'm super tired, and guarantee you will do all of it.
Yes.
At some point in your life, you'll do all of it. That's why it's really listening to your body. What do I need right now? What more do I need to know? See if there's any tremor in your body. My body really tight. My body really relaxed. That'll give you clues to what you're experiencing. Yeah. Just a little side note to end it up. Yeah.
I love it. And remember, above all of what we've talked about, expanding in love, most importantly in loving oneself, because you have to, and I don't often say you have to, but you have to love yourself before you can really move into love for others.
Yeah.
So honor yourselves, respect yourselves, love yourselves in whatever way that is for you. Not here to tell you what that is, but really start there. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful month. Can't wait to talk to you again.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you.
Yeah, I love you. We are forever grateful to you, our listener. You inspire us to continue listening with our hearts,
to share what we know, and to expand love, peace, and joy within ourselves and others. Until next time, this is Kristine Keeland
and Renee Keene. Be love, give love, and receive love.